I always believed that if I worked hard and stayed honest, things would fall into place. But life doesn't always move in straight lines. My name is Elliot, and this story begins on a warm Monday morning. The kind that usually brings hope. Instead, it brought trouble. I worked at Maple Lane Community Center, a simple place where we helped kids with after-school programs. I enjoyed my job. I liked the noise, the smiles, and the small wins. But when our director announced that a new project leader would be chosen for a big youth program, everything shifted inside the building. I wasn't expecting drama. I wasn't expecting competition. Yet the moment I applied, some people around me changed, especially Jordan. He had been at the center longer than me and believed the promotion was his. He didn't shout or accuse me of anything, but his face tightened each time I walked into a room. At first, I tried to ignore it. People were allowed to have feelings. But soon, small things began to happen. Missing notes, wrong schedules printed with my name on them, and whispers that ended the moment I appeared. I kept telling myself not to overthink it. Still, a part of me knew something was off. I just didn't know how far it would go. The first real sign came on a Wednesday afternoon. I had prepared a lesson plan for the kids about teamwork, something bright and simple. But when I reached my desk, the papers were gone. Not misplaced, gone. Replaced with a blank stack of printer sheets. I stared at them, confused. Jordan passed by slowly, pretending to tie his shoe near my desk. "Rough day?" he asked without looking up. My stomach tightened. "Did you see my lesson plan?" "No idea," he said quickly, almost too quickly. I knew better than to accuse anyone without proof. So I took a breath, sat down, and rewrote everything from memory. The kids didn't even notice. But I did. Someone wanted to throw me off. Later that evening, our director, Ms. Harper, stopped me in the hallway. "I heard you had to redo your lesson today," she said with a soft frown. "Everything okay?" I forced a small smile. "Yes, just a small mix-up." Her eyes stayed on me for a few seconds longer than normal. I could tell she knew something wasn't right, but she didn't push. When I left the building that day, the sky was turning orange. Beautiful, warm, calm. Yet inside me, something felt shaky. I was beginning to understand that the path to the promotion would not be smooth. Someone wanted me to fail. By the next week, things got worse. Emails I didn't send appeared in people's inboxes with my name on them. Simple things, wrong meeting times, missed reminders, unclear instructions. Nothing dangerous, just enough to make me look careless. I found out when Ms. Harper called me into her office. Her voice was calm, but the concern in her eyes felt heavy. "Elliot, this isn't like you. Are you overwhelmed?" I shook my head. I didn't send those emails. She leaned back, studying my face, not doubting me, just trying to understand. "If you ever need help, tell me. We're a team." Her kindness made my chest tighten a little. I hated that someone was damaging my reputation, quietly, in shadows. But again, I had no proof. Only strange patterns and guesses. After the meeting, I sat alone on a bench outside. I watched the kids playing with chalk and laughing. Their joy reminded me to stay steady. I told myself, keep going. Don't let whisper games break you. But later that afternoon, while sorting supplies, I noticed something odd, a small printed note tucked under a box. It looked like part of my missing lesson plan from the first incident. Folded neatly. Hidden. My heartbeat quickened. Someone had taken it, and they were still playing a quiet game. Instead of reacting quickly, I made a choice. I would stay calm and observant. Something inside me whispered that the truth always finds its way out. I just needed patience. So I began to pay attention. Small details. Tiny movements. Quiet conversations. On Thursday, I noticed Jordan near the printer again, tapping the screen and glancing around. When he saw me, he stepped away fast, pretending to check the bulletin board. My mind tried to connect the pieces, but didn't want to jump to conclusions. After lunch, I found another strange thing. A folder meant for me. My name printed clearly, sat inside the lost and found box. No reason for it to be there. When I picked it up, 2 volunteers nearby exchanged glances. One of them whispered, "Maybe he shouldn't be in charge of files." My chest burned for a second, but I forced myself to breathe. People can't stop your light if you keep showing up. That evening, I stayed late to organize materials for the youth program presentation. I wanted everything perfect. When I reached the supply room, the lights flickered slightly, a reminder of our old building. But the room was quiet, peaceful. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, light. I turned. It was Jordan. His expression was sharp, but he smiled like everything was normal. Working late. I nodded, just preparing. For something that won't be yours, he said softly. Then he walked away, leaving his words hanging like fog. Those words echoed in my mind all night. I didn't feel angry. I felt confused. Why would someone want to push me down so badly? What had I done wrong? The next morning, I arrived early. I wanted quiet time before the day started. As I walked past the main office, I saw Ms. Harper inside, holding papers and rubbing her temples. She looked tired, like she was carrying invisible weight. "Good morning," I said. She smiled gently. "Elliot, I'm glad you're here. I found something odd in the system. Your account sent more emails last night, but the times don't match your login." My breath caught. I wasn't even online. She nodded. "I know. That's the strange part." Her trust calmed me, but the situation didn't. Someone was using my name to create doubt. And now, the evidence was slowly piling up. Later in the day, while helping the kids set up a small art corner, I caught Jordan watching me again. He turned away quickly, like he had something to hide. But I didn't confront him. I didn't accuse. I didn't seek revenge. I simply told myself, keep your path straight. Karma sees more than people think. That evening, as I packed up, Ms. Harper approached me again. "We're checking the system logs," she said. "If something is wrong, we'll find out." For the first time, I felt a spark of hope. Maybe the truth was already moving toward the light. The next week brought a strange mix of stress and quiet courage. I woke up every morning reminding myself to stay steady no matter what happened. But the pressure around me grew heavier, like the air inside the community center was changing. On Monday, we had a planning meeting for the youth program. Everyone sat around a long table, sharing ideas. When it was my turn, I explained a simple plan for helping shy kids feel more confident. But halfway through, someone interrupted. "We already saw this," a volunteer said, holding up a printed copy. "It was emailed last night." My eyes widened. I didn't send anything. A few people exchanged looks. Not rude ones, but confused ones, the kind that make your stomach drop. I forced myself to breathe slowly. Ms. Harper cleared her throat. Let Elliot finish. Her voice was steady, but I could tell she was worried too, not about me, but about what was happening beneath the surface. After the meeting, I stepped outside for fresh air. The wind was cool, brushing against my face like a small reminder that I wasn't alone. As I stood there, I noticed Jordan through the window, watching me with a strange expression. Not anger, not joy, but something in between. He looked away quickly, and I realized something important. People who try to break you often fear your strength more than they admit. By Wednesday, I finally decided to take a quiet step toward the truth. Not revenge, just clarity. When the center closed for the day, I stayed behind to check something in the computer lab. Not hacking, not sneaking, just looking at my own account activity. I logged in and my stomach tightened. There were time stamps for messages I never sent, at hours when I wasn't even awake. I clicked through the details, trying to understand, but the system required admin access for deeper logs. I sighed and shut the computer. As I stood up, I heard footsteps again. Light, careful ones, like someone didn't want to be noticed. I turned, expecting a volunteer. Instead, I saw Jordan at the door. "Working late again?" he asked. I nodded slowly, just sorting things. He leaned against the wall. "You should be careful. People are starting to question your work." There was something in his tone, a strange satisfaction, like he enjoyed the confusion he caused. But I didn't react. I knew reacting would only feed whatever game he was playing. "Things have a way of clearing up," I said calmly. He paused, blinked, then walked away without another word. That night, I told myself something important. You don't need to fight shadows. You just need to stand where the light reaches. And the light was coming. I could feel it. Friday brought an unexpected shift. Ms. Harper called for a small staff meeting. Her face was serious, but not angry. We've been reviewing our computer system, she said. We found something unusual. Everyone leaned forward slightly. The room filled with a quiet tension. She continued, some accounts were accessed without proper login times. We're working with technical support to trace everything. Jordan shifted in his chair. His fingers tapped quietly on the table. I kept my expression calm, even though my heart was beating fast. Not from fear, from relief. Finally, the truth had a path. After the meeting, I went to the storage room to sort new art supplies. The simple job relaxed me. Sorting colors, arranging brushes, placing markers in neat rows. It reminded me that order can return, even when life feels messy. As I worked, I heard someone behind me. I turned slowly. It was Maya, one of the volunteers. She gave me a soft smile. Hey, I just want to say, I don't believe the things people whisper. You've always been steady. Her words warmed my chest. Thank you. That means a lot. She hesitated. Also, I saw something strange last week near your desk. I didn't say anything before, because I wasn't sure. My breath caught. What did you see? She swallowed. Jordan, he was going through your tray when you weren't there. A rush of understanding hit me. The shadows weren't so dark anymore. I didn't run to Ms. Harper with the information. I didn't confront Jordan. I didn't change my behavior at all. Something in me said the truth needed its own time, like a seed waiting to break through the soil. Instead, I focused on preparing for the youth program presentation. This was the final step before Ms. Harper chose a project leader. I wanted it to be strong, simple, and honest, just like the work I believed in. By the next day, I had a full layout ready, colorful boards, notes about teamwork, fun activities to help kids support one another. I stayed late to finish everything, humming quietly to keep myself steady. As I packed up, Ms. Harper walked in. You're still here? Let me see what you've made. I showed her the materials. She studied them closely, nodding slowly. This is impressive, she said softly. Her words filled me with a warm kind of strength. But then she added, and the system logs revealed something important today. Someone accessed your account from another computer inside the center. My heart thudded. She continued, we're narrowing it down. The truth is close. I didn't have to say anything. My quiet smile told her I trusted the process. Walking home that night, the sky above me felt wider. Hope wasn't a guess anymore. It was a quiet promise. Monday arrived, the day of the big presentation. I felt nervous, but also ready. My boards were set up neatly in the hall, colorful and simple. Staff members walked around, admiring everyone's work. Jordan's table was full of bright designs, too. He kept glancing at me with a tight smile. As people gathered, Ms. Harper stepped forward. Before we begin, I have an announcement. The room fell quiet. We have completed our system investigation. There were unauthorized logins made under Elliot's account. These logins came from a staff computer that does not belong to him. A ripple of whispers moved through the room. Jordan shifted slightly. Ms. Harper continued. The logs clearly show that Elliot was not responsible for the false messages sent from his account. Thank you all for your patience as we resolve this. My chest lifted with a quiet breath I didn't know I'd been holding. She then looked at me with a small smile. Thank you for staying calm through all of this. Around the room, the whispers changed tone, from doubt to understanding. Even Maya gave me a thumbs up. Jordan kept his head down. The presentations continued smoothly, and when it was my turn, I spoke clearly, confidently. I wasn't trying to beat anyone. I was simply sharing what I loved. And for the first time in weeks, I felt free. After the presentation, everything felt different. The tension in the air had lifted slightly, replaced by a calm that almost felt strange. People no longer whispered behind my back. Even Jordan stayed quiet. Sitting at his desk with a frown I didn't need to understand. I spent the afternoon helping the kids clean up the art room. Their laughter felt like a gentle reminder that the world kept moving, no matter how heavy things felt before. Sometimes I thought about the weeks of confusion and whispers, the anxiety, the small doubts, how close I'd been to letting them cloud my mind. Maya appeared at the doorway, holding a box of colored pencils. "Do you want help?" she asked. I smiled. "Always." She set the box down, then hesitated. "I'm glad you stayed calm through all of this. Some people might have reacted differently." I nodded. I realized that rushing or yelling wouldn't solve anything. The truth has its own way of coming out. Later, when the center was empty and the sun was setting, I sat at a small table, quietly reflecting. The victory wasn't in proving someone wrong. It was in staying true to myself, even when shadows tried to convince me otherwise. I had learned something important. Patience, honesty, and calmness could shine brighter than anger or revenge. And slowly, I could feel the balance returning, not through punishment, but through life itself. The next morning, Ms. Harper asked me to attend a short staff meeting. I felt nervous, unsure what she would say next. But as I entered, she greeted me with a calm smile. "We want to recognize the effort you put into the youth program," she began. "Your dedication, patience, and focus have not gone unnoticed. We believe you are ready for more responsibility." As I compiled notes, I reflected on the journey so far. Every whisper, every misplaced document, and every doubt had been a lesson in patience and perseverance. I realized that the real victory wasn't the recognition or promotion. It was staying true to myself despite the chaos. Maya peeked in, holding a cup of coffee. "You've been at it for hours," she said softly. "Take a break." I smiled. "I just want to make sure everything is clear and organized." She nodded. "Watching you, I've learned that calmness can change a lot more than anger ever could." Her words struck me. It was true. By choosing not to react with frustration or blame, I had shifted the energy around me. Even Jordan seemed to sense it, acting with less tension and more thoughtfulness. That evening, as I walked home under a soft drizzle, I felt a quiet sense of pride. Not the pride of beating someone or proving a point, but the pride of knowing that honesty, patience, and integrity had carried me through. The storm outside felt gentle, like a reflection of the peace I had cultivated within. By midweek, the center had established a new routine. The kids were excited, volunteers more confident, and the atmosphere filled with a sense of purpose. I often noticed small gestures, Jordan quietly returning misplaced supplies, volunteers thanking each other, that hinted at a subtle change in everyone's behavior. One afternoon, Ms. Harper called me into her office. She handed me a folder with detailed feedback from the local organization. "Elliot, look at this." They highlighted not only the children's progress, but also the stability and calmness you brought to the program. I scanned the notes, feeling a quiet warmth inside. Every challenge I had faced, the whispers, the sabotage, the doubts, had led to this, not because I had forced a victory, but because I had stayed consistent and honest. After the meeting, I returned to the main hall. The children were laughing, sharing ideas, and encouraging each other. I noticed Jordan assisting a small group of kids, guiding them gently. It wasn't forced, it was natural. I realized then that change didn't need confrontation. By staying grounded and true, I had influenced the environment positively. Karma hadn't been my action. It had been life reflecting the effort and integrity I put forth. That evening, I sat by the window, watching the sun dip below the horizon. I felt steady, calm, and ready for whatever challenges might come next. I had learned the most important lesson. Strength lies in patience, honesty, and believing that the truth will always surface. Friday arrived, bringing the final review for the youth program. Volunteers and children gathered in the main hall, excited and prepared. The energy was light but focused, a clear contrast to the tension from weeks before. As the program ran, I observed quietly. The children were confident, participating fully, and helping each other without hesitation. Volunteers followed the new system smoothly, demonstrating growth and adaptability. Jordan approached me at one point, carrying a small stack of completed activities. "Here," he said softly. I finished these early for the group. I nodded, smiling gently. Thank you. That's very helpful. There was no pride in my response, no need to assert authority. It was simply a recognition of teamwork and shared effort. I realized that the strongest victories aren't about proving someone wrong. They're about uplifting everyone around you while staying true to yourself. Later, Ms. Harper gave a short speech to the group, praising dedication, honesty, and collaboration. I listened quietly, feeling a quiet satisfaction that came from doing the right thing, not from forcing results. As the day ended and the children left with smiles and waves, I sat alone briefly, reflecting. I had faced whispers, doubt, and attempts to undermine me, and yet, through patience, honesty, and steady effort, I had turned every challenge into a lesson in growth and integrity. The center felt alive, the people felt connected, and I felt, for the first time, that true victory had arrived, not from winning over someone else, but from never losing myself. The following Monday, a quiet sense of accomplishment filled the center. The youth program was running smoothly, and volunteers had settled into their roles with confidence. Even the children seemed more engaged and self-assured than ever before. I spent the morning helping a small group with a teamwork exercise. As I watched them cooperate and cheer each other on, I realized how much the past few weeks had taught me. It wasn't about competition or who was right or wrong. It was about patience, integrity, and staying steady under pressure. Jordan approached quietly, carrying a folder of extra supplies. I want to make sure everything is ready for the afternoon session, he said. His voice lacked the tension it once had. I nodded with a small smile. Thank you. That's very helpful. He hesitated, then added, I also learned a lot watching how you handled everything. I didn't respond immediately, but I felt a quiet warmth inside. Some lessons can be forced. They had to be observed and absorbed. That afternoon, I realized the weeks of whispering, sabotage, and doubt had not weakened me. They had shaped me. Strength, I understood, didn't come from proving others wrong. It came from staying true to yourself and letting life reveal the truth naturally. By midweek, the center was in full rhythm. Kids ran from table to table, laughing and sharing ideas, while volunteers coordinated smoothly and confidently. The tension that had once seemed so heavy was gone, replaced by collaboration and energy. I spent time checking materials and organizing future sessions, reflecting on everything that had happened. The challenges, the doubts, the small acts meant to disrupt my work. They all seemed distant now. Maya came by with a few new art supplies. Elliot, you've really changed the energy here, she said. Everyone works better because you stayed calm. I smiled. It wasn't about proving anyone wrong. I just focused on doing what was right. Jordan passed by quietly, giving a brief nod. He didn't speak, but the gesture said more than words ever could. I realized he had learned the same lesson I had. Negativity only affects you if you let it. That evening, walking home through quiet streets, I felt a calm pride. Life had tested me with small, quiet challenges, but patience, honesty, and steady effort had carried me through. And now, I was not only stronger, but wiser, ready to lead with integrity, and confident that the right path always reveals itself. Thursday brought an unexpected surprise. Ms. Harper called me into her office, her face bright with excitement. Elliot, I've been reviewing the progress reports and observing your work with the children, she said. You've done more than lead a program. You inspire confidence in everyone around you. I felt a warm surge of gratitude. Thank you. I just focus on staying steady and honest. She nodded. That's exactly why I want you to take on an additional leadership role next month. You'll oversee multiple programs. Your approach is exactly what we need. I paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. I had wanted recognition, yes, but this was different. It wasn't about proving myself to others. It was about the chance to make a meaningful impact, using the lessons I had learned. As I left her office, I noticed Jordan quietly straightening materials nearby. He looked up, and this time there was no tension in his eyes, only understanding. It struck me then that the challenges, whispers, and doubts hadn't defeated anyone. They had been a quiet test of resilience, patience, and integrity. And in the end, Everyone, including myself, had grown stronger. Friday arrived, and the youth program held a small celebration for the children. Parents and volunteers gathered, praising the kids for their creativity, teamwork, and confidence. I watched quietly, feeling proud but not boastful. The children laughed, showing off projects they had completed with care and enthusiasm. The volunteers moved smoothly between groups, guiding, encouraging, and helping without unnecessary instruction. Jordan assisted a group of shy children with a small art display. He didn't seek recognition or attention. He simply helped. I realized then that the quiet lessons he had learned mattered more than any words. Maya stopped beside me, smiling. "You really handled everything perfectly," she said. "I think everyone noticed how calm and focused you remained, even when things were challenging." I nodded softly. Sometimes, the right way isn't the fastest way, but it's the way that lasts. The celebration ended, and as the kids left with happy goodbyes, I sat at the center's empty table, reflecting. The journey had been full of quiet trials, but the outcome was clear. Patience, honesty, and steady effort not only revealed the truth, they created growth, understanding, and respect. And most importantly, they allowed me to walk away with the win, without hurting anyone, without shouting, and without losing myself. As the week closed, I walked through the center one last time before heading home. Sunlight streamed through the windows, casting warm light on the walls filled with children's artwork. Everything felt balanced, alive, and calm. I reflected on the weeks of whispers, false messages, and quiet sabotage. At the time, it had been frustrating, even painful. But looking back, I realized those challenges had taught me the most valuable lessons of all: integrity, patience, and resilience. Jordan passed by silently, giving me a small nod. There were no words necessary. The tension had dissolved naturally, replaced by understanding. No one needed to be punished. Life had revealed the truth on its own. Maya waved as she organized supplies. "See you next week?" she asked. I smiled. Absolutely. As I left, I felt a quiet pride. I hadn't just led a program. I had grown. I hadn't just survived challenges. I had learned from them. I hadn't sought revenge. I had chosen patience and honesty. And in the end, that had been the greatest victory of all. Because sometimes winning isn't about defeating someone else. It's about never losing yourself.